what were the quotes then? Do you remember?
I can't remember what I did last week half the time.
Say no more.
Yeah.
We need to replace them.
Are the schools considered cooling stations?
They're not public access. I know in the past, when we had snowstorms, Bobrowski said that, if it was gonna be, a power outage or something like that, or if he needed to open the school, that he could and he would.
The only reason I'm asking, if we even do that, trying to make this a cooling center, are we gonna upgrade the restrooms? I mean, are we gonna have to, we gonna have to be able to consider, there might be a couple hundred people here, and we have 2 bathrooms? And that'd be my concern. That's why I was asking if the school was available. I know
Who's gonna man it?
Who's gonna what?
Man it, who's gonna let them in?
Obviously, if there's an emergency, we need to do something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Police, fire.
Yeah, we'd be out. We just, essentially announce that it's gonna be open and open the doors.
So, all right, take a look at it, see where we're at, if it's feasible. That's all I have.
Anything else, Chief? Okay.
We got you, we got your stuff for your dog. And recognize OSP for the donations. I didn't know if you were gonna make it, so we just moved through it. But you're all set with this. Thank you. Okay. Brings us public comment. If you're interested in addressing the board, please keep your questions directed at the trustees. Stand and state your name and address. No, you can sit. It's okay.
Thank you. Debbie Fritz, 400 Long Avenue. I just want to ask a question. You can yes or no. Have you discussed, mentioned, any way talked about data centers in Virginia?
We have.
You have. Okay. This has been a big concern.
Yep.
I've been following it. I've been doing research on data centers. I hope you guys are checking into the liabilities and the problems that Hubbard is having, Lordstown is having, major cities are putting in wording where nothing can be done for at least a year. Information needs to be discussed and researched on the effects of the noise, the emissions, toxics, all that has to be reviewed.
So
And where
what,
would that be by any means? Because I know there's a mile radius on noise.
right. So what we've done at this point is we have attended a couple seminars and gathered as much information as we can that's available to us. We have talked to our zoning board about looking at restrictions and wording within our zoning ordinances to, we have to get something on paper. Last I knew, they were waiting for something to come back from the county. Is that still correct, Silas? Have you heard?
I believe so, from what me and John spoke from time to time. We have another meeting tomorrow night, so if anybody wants to come down here and bring up that tomorrow night, we're going to probably discuss that along with some other things. So you're more welcome. The meeting will be here at 6 o'clock with the board. You're more welcome. Any and all.
Actually, I just actually sent Silas last week, Hubbard's draft of their data center information. So I know the whole information, one that Hubbard is currently working on.
We do have some concerns. And here's our biggest concern is there, of course, is one property within our township that would probably be I hate to say it, a good fit for a data center,
Where would that be?
the old Copperwell property. However, the problem that we have with that piece of property is that is not entirely in Champlin Township. So that property has access to water. It has access to ample amounts of power. I have not personally been contacted, and I don't know that the township has been contacted by anybody requesting information about that piece of property, but talked to Jerry a little bit about it. There's been some conversation amongst us that if something was going to happen, I would suspect that's probably will be the target area. I have talked to Warren Township a little bit about it. They, at that time, were not in a big hurry to do anything. So what I'm telling you, this could be a Kmart warehouse situation in the future where you wind up with it close enough to put up with the problems with it and it not be in our township. So, but we were monitoring it closely. We are gathering as much information as fast as we can. And the townships have a little bit more, it's a little harder for townships. The villages and the cities can strike things pretty quickly where we can't. So we are certainly working on it, or zoning people are looking at it. Probably, I would expect there to be a meeting, one of the township association meetings or something here in the near future, where this is a hot topic. But yes, we are trying to stay in front of it as fast as we can, but it changes every day, you know, so it's a bit of a problem. And then, you know, we've seen these situations before that every time you think that you're in good shape with it, something changes and all of a sudden you're not. So I think that from the county aspect is what they were looking at, is trying to get it pretty well dialed in before they did something, because once they do it and everybody accepts that resolution and reads it in and something changes within it, that resolution is no longer any good. So I think that's what it's about, in my opinion. That's the information I've been given, but yes, we are very well aware.
Okay, also you need to be checking out which country is backing this.
What's that?
Very important to see what country is backing these, because there's a problem there too,
Probably.
okay?
I don't know how much leeway we would have to deny somebody access to something because of their origin.
Oh, I'm not saying to deny it, I'm saying to be aware of it. There's a difference. So you need to know who you're dealing with. I would like to see more transparency on any information that you have, no matter how little or how great. Because had I not brought this up, we would not have known today that you were even talking.
It's been brought up in past meetings.
Yeah,
Yes.
Which one?
Well, I don't know. what
Silas, when
date,
did you ask for all the information?
Several.
When did Jerry give you all that
She
information?
gave me this information not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
And I printed it off and I read it, and I think I have it with me. I've got some other literature that Jerry has sent to me. I haven't got through it all, and it's about this thick. So I'm going through that as well. But I brought this up 3 meetings ago, which have been 3 months ago.
Correct.
At around that time, to the board. You wasn't happy to be here that day.
Why do you always feel that we're doing stuff behind your back? I mean, I'm starting to get offended by it.
Because, let me just say this. I'm entitled as a resident to ask questions.
Well, absolutely.
And if that offends you, it should not.
What offends me is when you sit here and think that I'm doing something behind your back and you accuse me.
Nobody accused you of anything, so I'm kind of wondering why you feel this.
You did that over the central property. You accused us of
What did
hiding.
I accuse you of and how did I have everything on tape, so you want to explain that?
You know what I'm talking
No,
about.
I don't know what you're talking
No, I'm gonna let it go because I don't want to sit here and get in an argument with you. I just want to let you know
Because when
that,
you're an elected official, you have to take what the public is giving you, okay? That's your job.
well, yes,
And if
it
you
doesn't,
can't do it, then you might be too sensitive.
I
for
just
this
asked you
type
a
of
question.
work.
That's all I
That's
did.
all I'm saying too.
I can tell you the first contact I had with zoning over data centers was back when the central school property was the hot topic. So the first meetings that centered around the central school property, which would have been March, maybe
Sooner than that.
maybe February, what I'm thinking February. I believe you guys were having a meeting in the other room, we were having some meeting
Yes.
here. We came down and briefly discussed zoning or data centers and would zoning be aware of this, start looking at it. You know, the legalities of this though they're so large that it's going to take counties and states to get this under control. You know, if it was as simple as us for just write on a piece of paper, no data centers within Champion Township, and put it into the zoning resolution, that'd be great, but it's just not. And you do that, and it's so vague that they run right over it. So we have to make sure that what we do is gonna be right, and we will. And we're aware of it, and we're working on it, and, you know, like I said, the problems are as this changes. So you put something in per se about the water. And then these centers all change and they have a closed loop water system that now water is no longer a problem. So you write it out on a water problem and they solve the water problem, but that doesn't solve the noise problem. It doesn't solve this problem, it doesn't solve that. You know what I mean? So you just have to make sure that when this is done and it's done correctly, that everybody can adopt that resolution and make it work. I don't know. We at least have some zoning in place. The townships that have no zonings, the meccas, the places like that, I would say are maybe easier targets. I don't know what they're looking for property on data centers now. I just don't. But, yeah, we're aware.
What property are they looking at right now?
I don't know. Here, none that I'm aware of.
Other than Copper.
I don't know that they're looking at Copperwell, but what I'm saying about.
That would be,
this-
I,
I would think that would be a target from what I've read and what I've seen on TV. Some of the seminars that we've attended, we've done, video seminars,
Webinars.
a couple different ones. There's been some stuff on, was it Channel 21, put a big thing on TV. It was pretty informative. You know, but you gotta be careful when you're watching these things because you don't know what side of the coin that entity that put this on is playing for. So that entity wants data centers and they're downplaying the problems with them. This one does not want data centers, so they're making data centers out to be the most horrible thing that's ever happened. Somewhere in the middle of that someplace is probably the right area. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but I'm trying to get as much information as I can. And this board and our zoning departments and our zoning departments are well aware of it. And we're doing what we can as fast as we can. Unfortunately, Rex knows he's here a long time. Silas is probably learning some of this now being on the zoning board. It's not a 3-minute job to fix these things. These take months, sometimes years. So, but the bigger problem for us right now, I think, is the fact that some of our neighbors that might not be interested in striking down these things. We have adjacent properties that we could wind up with this thing 15 feet off the border of Champion Township and there's nothing we can do.
and that was subject to all of the, quote, concerns about that.
Right.
Okay, so have you heard of any communities in our area
The
that want to?
last time I
haven't.
The last time I talked to Warren Township, there had been no requests made there. That was during the fire talks on the medic program, so what? 4 or 5 weeks ago? So at that point, Warren Township had nothing. Braceville, I know for a fact, has had nothing as of 2 weeks ago. Talked to Hovis, Bezetta, they've had nothing. The guys further north, I have not talked to. Those are the guys I know Howland has not had anything. So those are the guys that I talk to on a regular basis. So I don't
Has
know.
anybody been positive about it? Any of the communities?
Well, some of the
Yes, I
similar,
heard
no, within our community, no, nobody's positive here.
I thought,
I wouldn't say that, we've got the Lake to River Committee, they're going to take people to see data centers.
This is
and promoting them.
they took the people in Hubbard down there, Hubbard Township. And
Yeah, I mean,
I thought they were split. I know that the city was against it, but wasn't the township, weren't they leaning towards it? That they had two different trips, and I thought I heard that on the news on TV, on Channel 20.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised because that's where things are different. The municipalities aren't looking at property tax, where townships are looking at the property taxes. So a data center per se could be a $300 million project in your township. You're gonna collect property taxes on that. So it's a big bunch of coin for your township. But if it endangers the township and destroys the property values of the township, then it doesn't matter what that would do for your tax base. If it destroys your township at the same time, yeah, we're flush. We got $40 million in the general fund. Things are really good, but we got 4 residents left because everybody left. So
Right, and then you have
no
to worry
future.
about, are they gonna pull out and leave you with
Have no idea. It's the same.
$1 million worth of cleanup?
And this is some of the same problems you saw with solar fields. When solar was a big thing, and everybody wanted to talk about solar, and everybody wanted to zone against solar and solar fields, because what happens in 25 years with all the panels? Who's taking the panels out of here? Who's responsible? Who's this? You know, because we've seen this with some wells, the gas wells in the area. The wells have gone defunct, and they're no longer managed, there's no maintenance on them, they're leaking, there's problems, and so we've seen it, and this is the same, it's the same thing. You know, I know there's a lot of talk going on within the county. I have not seen anything on paper come back yet, so I don't have answers. I just know that we're aware of it, and we're watching it closely, and we're doing what we can. The Copperwell property is not, as of today, ready to be sold. I do know that. So even if they wanted to put it at Copperwell today, the remediation of that property is still ongoing. So I don't think that can happen yet, but, you know, you're dealing with people that own that property are not citizens of this nation.
This is what
So
I'm talking
they don't
about.
really care what a data center would do to Champion, Ohio, or Warren Township,
This is what I'm talking
or
about.
Trumbull County. So, and I get that. So they're looking for a quick buck and to dump and to run and
Exactly.
go. We understand that as well. So we'll keep you posted as we hear things, as we know things. You know, we get going on some of these meetings and you don't always hit on every topic that residents want. So always ask. If we don't hit a topic that you want to know about, ask us. We're more willing to tell you what we know about
If
it.
there are special meetings, you'll bring it up, and I wish you would have put it in the paper about this is a topic that could have been discussed at the meeting tomorrow. Because I think a lot of people would have probably wanted to be there to hear that, so you guys do it.
I don't know if that's on the topic, I'm just.
It can be
just-
brought up
yeah, it
after
can,
some.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I
But
don't,
if it's something comes up, then
Okay.
you can let Bob know.
Okay. if I hear anything, I'm sure I can reach out to one of the trustees and let them know. Because
Anytime.
we can have a special meeting at any time, and it takes 2 weeks to put it in the newspaper and on our website, things like that, to let people know what's going on.
Great, thank you.
You know, a spin-off from that, that is, that I've thought about is a concern as well, is you can get a community on the outskirts of Champion that, the smaller townships that don't have the revenue to have a fire department, police department, right? And how many times have they come to Champion, you know, and said about they can't pay the money for us to have mutual aid and what have you. I'm worried about those areas taking this opportunity to take that revenue, and then with that money, because they have that, without having what the ramifications of it could be, and then going and taking all of our fire, taking all of our police, and then we're stuck with nothing because they're paying astronomical amount of money because they have the resources, and then there we are stuck with nothing. That's one of my fears.
I think my biggest concern when you're dealing with these countries, they don't care.
No, they don't.
Okay, they can dump and run in 2 seconds.
And it's-
And what are they gonna leave behind?
Yeah.
what toxics are gonna be left behind, what cleanup, and you know, you could have a wonderful fire department, a wonderful police department, but like you said, all the revenue. What's that cleanup gonna cost you?
Have you been down Refractory Road? Have you seen what's General Refractories, what's left there? If you'd like, I'll take you for a tour. I went there the other day.
What's that?
Over on Wilson?
What'd you say, Tom?
I was just asking, you know, you don't necessarily have to be a foreign agency to leave a mess.
No,
you know.
we're just talking data centers.
What are your concerns with data centers?
What are
What are your main concerns besides who owns it? What's your other concerns?
I just said, water.
Water,
sound,
toxic.
Toxic, I named it.
I'm writing it down. I'm gonna
Yeah,
follow up.
Toxic chemicals, yes.
Toxic
Sound,
chemicals.
emissions, noise, electric, I mean, we can go on and on, because your electric rates could go skyrocketing, I mean, there's a lot.
Are you aware?
Because the water that goes
They're done.
through those
That's the
things
problem. It takes
can
time.
burn real fast. And when you do that, then it can burn your water. I mean, you don't realize the amount of force that's going through that.
Are you aware that if, even if they built one like in Lordstown, it's gonna
Can you
affect
do
us here with our electric rates and things? Because it's in the grid?
I don't think it,
Should be able to Google.
No, but I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be necessarily in Champion for us to have these problems. And I think that's where the county is addressing it. Because, you know, it's gonna affect the whole area, not just, where, right around where the data center's going.
I understand all that. I'm just concerned with what's happening here, what discussions are being made.
I talked to the Trump Planning Commission. I made an appointment a couple months ago and talked to Nick Coggins, and I asked him about that. I asked him specifically about Copperwell, and he said that he had heard no activity whatsoever. Now, that was a couple months ago. And then we started talking about down on Folsom and the mess there. And I know there's also the lagoons, which are in Warren Township on Copperwell. That's contaminated.
Folsom Street's the land bank though, so.
The land bank owns it,
So I would
right.
be shocked if they.
And they're trying to get, and I've been trying to keep a hold of that. I was talking to them last week. They're trying to get grants because they ran out of money to finish cleaning it up. They're hoping within a couple of months to be able to be more active on that. The same thing, they were talking about Copperwell with the lagoons.
Right.
The same thing, they're trying to clean them up.
We should be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah. So I just Googled this, because I thought I saw something on the TV, and I wanted to make sure. The state of Ohio has not banned or frozen data center construction. However, Governor Mike DeWine paused the state's generous tax exemption program for new data centers while lawmakers studied the industry's soaring costs and utility impacts. Statewide tax pause, Governor DeWine directed the Ohio Tax Credit Authority to pause all new state sales and use tax exemptions. This came after the subsidies cost the state roughly $1.6 billion in a single year. Legislation. Pause is a temporary measure to give the General Assembly's Joint Data Center Committee time to evaluate the industry. Lawmakers have introduced sweeping legislation that could permanently cap local property tax abatements, reduce sales tax breaks, and create specialized data center rate classes. While the state has not banned construction, several local municipalities, keyword municipalities, have passed temporary moratoriums or outright rejected individual proposals.
I think what you're gonna see happen is, I think you're gonna wind up with that data center going in Lordstown, because Lordstown wasn't far enough in front of it. And I think they'll lose that when it comes time. And I believe that's what you'll see happen.
You think
And I
it's
don't-
going to work?
I think it will. I think they'll be hard pressed to stop it. They're doing a good job. I mean, they're fighting a good fight, but at the end of the day, I would be shocked
I
if
mean,
they
is that
stop
something that
it.
could be put on the ballot?
What's that?
Could it be put on the ballot for the community to vote it down?
Yeah,
And that's
maybe.
something
I mean,
that needs to be looked at.
that's probably a good option, but you're talking, months and months away. And, in order to get something like that on the ballot, it's an expense, and then I don't know that it bears any weight in here. So the whole community is against it, but the elected officials aren't against it, so it's still gonna happen. Or the commissioners per se, or the governor, or whoever you want, whatever level of government you want to talk about. Point blank, I don't know too many people in favor of it, is what I'll tell you. But this is what I'll tell you. I don't know too many people that you don't see going down the street like this either. So So everyone's staring at their phone, everybody's using these services, and everyone's complaining about data centers and everything needed to support the very services that everybody's using 20 hours a day. That's probably, that's like complaining about gas stations and driving 20 hours a day, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of a wild,
Have you checked into any of the states that are doing this?
if I what?
Have you
Check
checked
on the
into
state-
any of the
other states.
states who have the data centers?
No, I have not. I've seen the talk at the seminars and things like that. I haven't, and that's the funny thing about it, Debbie, is all the things I've watched one with Jerry, the locations that those things are in, the residents are complaining about it, but I have yet to see an elected official complaining. Just saying, maybe it's about the money, I don't know, nobody wants to pay property tax, we're gonna support the community with data center, I don't know. I just know that what we're doing right now, what we're watching, and I know our zoning board's got it, county's working on it, the state's working on it, everybody's working on it, so we will, see what happens. I would suspect sometime in the very near future that you will see a association meeting that's gonna cover this. I'd be shocked if there's not, because I'm sure that every trustee meeting in the county, and probably in the state, these are some of the same questions everybody's being faced with, and everybody's sitting there going, I don't know that much about data centers, I know what I've read, I know what I've seen. And like I said, depends who's putting on that seminar, which side of the coin they're on, and what information they're going to
I
get.
think it'd be worth watching campaign contributions also.
A grassroots campaign aiming to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot, banning large data centers statewide missed the 26th ballot, and is now aiming for 27.
So that's where you're at.
We'll see. That's interesting.
But we'll keep you posted. As we learn, you'll learn.
Yeah, I just want transparency to let us know
Give
what's
you as
going
much of it
on.
as I got.
because, sometimes you have a handful of people here until it hits a nerve, and then the room is filled,
Yep.
okay? So
But
I think
we've
more
been,
people who know what's going on can be asking questions and concerns. They have a right to do that.
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Silas Dozier, 6158 Shaker Road, Northwest. The topic came up with the cooling centers. Would that be correlation in case of the winter time as well for a heating center?
Yeah, we can use this as a warming center now, and I believe it's listed down there. I'm not sure if John did it or not.
No, because we don't have a generator.
We don't have a generator, so that's right. So, no, however, and this is what I'll tell you, as long as this facility has power, if we have residents that do not have power, do not have heat, we will open this up. And you can cut it. It's great, as long as we have power, if the electricity goes out here, we're gonna have to find plan B, but, we cannot be listed because we don't have a generator.
Nothing's there.
If we had a generator, we can guarantee